Come on. Let's get it. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. Let's talk a little basketball, folks. Talk a little basketball because I'm recording this the Sunday morning after a Saturday in early March, and we had a hell of a day in basketball and just some absolutely phenomenal games. And who would have thunk? On a day where we get the University of North Carolina and Duke versus UNC, and then right after Duke UNC, we get Lakers Celtics, that the most entertaining game of the day is the Auburn Tigers taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide. In basketball, folks, this isn't football. This is a basketball game that had the most entertaining basketball game was between Alabama and Auburn. Wow. Who would have thought we'd see that day, right? But let's get into it, because the game was won in overtime off of a buzzer beater floater. I believe the point guard's name is Sears. He takes it down, he hits a floater in the buzzer to finish off the game, like literally the last second of the game, and it was an absolutely entertaining game, but just a great back and forth game. I could see those teams possibly competing for it all, depending on where they land, in the bracket and all that kind of stuff. And it's crazy because I remember actually just a few weeks ago I was talking about how they were 1-2 going against each other, and it hit me because, again, this is Alabama Auburn. We don't normally see that this time of year when we're talking basketball, right? But I have to take you somewhere. I gotta bring this up because if you go towards the end of regulation, see what happens in the national media and what starts to get blown up is the fact that the kid hit the buzzer beater. I'm not taking away at all from that accomplishment. It's a great moment. It was a great way to go ahead and win the game, especially seeing that Auburn beat them at their court a couple weeks ago. It was good to see my man come back, see Alabama come back and say, okay, we gonna get the ship right and beat them in their house this time, right? But if you go back to the end of regulation, I remember kind of mentally noting this because, again, whenever I see it, and it just happens to be the way it is because of the high school I went to Good Counsel High School, and this was the first time in my life that I saw white boys bowling. I saw white boys playing some basketball, like absolutely tearing cats up, dishing, playing D, setting picks. I mean, this was the first time, and I look at it now in life and say, those were some of the best things to see, because we understood. I had the understanding, and this is why I'm such a huge advocate for youth sports, because youth sports doesn't get into politics. Youth sports is not what you learn in youth sports. Is it really doesn't matter what your color is. It doesn't matter where you're from or what you look like on the exterior. Only thing that starts to matter at some point is, can you actually play? Can you fucking play? All right, so none of this white privilege and DEI and all this bullshit that so many people like to feed on with our politics and how they poison your kids with all this nonsense that really doesn't matter. When you're talking sports, none of it matters. The only thing that actually matters is, can you fucking play? Can you play? Period, point blank, end of sentence. And if you go down to the end of regulation, literally the only white boy on the court, all right, the only white boy on the court was Grant Nelson, a kid named Grant Nelson. And he had the responsibility of guarding arguably the best player in college basketball, Janai Broome. And it's the end of regulation. And listen, Auburn could not have asked for a better situation at the end of regulation. You got the best player in the country. Some people are calling, I believe it's between him and the kid out of Duke. I think the name is Cooper Flagg, but he can play. Again, Janai Broome had a great game. He made some great shots and did his thing. But when it comes down to crunch time at the end of regulation, they got him with the ball. They got the matchup they won. They got him one-on-one, and they say, yo, Janai Broome, just go do your thing. Go handle your business. Go get this dub. And it was Grant Nelson's stop. Again, the only damn white boy on the court. It was his stop that made it so they had to push the game into overtime. And when they got into overtime, it looked like Auburn was running away with it a little bit, but then there was a major steal by one of the other kids from Alabama. And then also Grant Nelson stepped in and he made a couple big shots, got a couple huge boards at the end of it. And it really set up that buzzer beater at the end. And that is what it's all about. Right there. This is why, again, sports. I did a video last week about the top 5 moves I'd make as a politician, and the reason that I would make sure that youth sports is required is to understand, is to teach young people that. Teach young people that concept of, if you're actually going to make it, or you're actually going to make a difference in your place of business or where you work, or to whatever employer you decide to pursue, or even if you decide to go run your own business and do your own thing, you have to actually be good. You have to actually be good enough to do it. Has nothing to do with your gender, has nothing to do with your race, has nothing to do with where you're from yet. None of that stuff that so many people pay attention to, and in all honesty, has nothing to do with the damn college you went to. It all has to do with, are you actually good enough to do the damn job? And that's what was proven day in and day. That's what's proven every single day in sports. It just so happens that, you know, this time of year when basketball is at its highest heights, it's shown on the court. It's actually, you actually see it, and that's the symbol. That's the kind of stuff we need to be feeding to our kids, and that's what it's all about, guys. So I'll dive more into this. Trust me. It's crazy because it's like just getting started. Like, basketball season is really hitting that peak now, to where it's like I'm missing my guy. Like, I used to go at it, man. oh man, all the debates, the college basketball debates, the NBA debates. Oh man, all that stuff I used to take part in. Again, I grew up in the DMV, so you know, basketball, that's what we do out in the DMV, is basketball. So it's never actually good enough to play on a team, so I was always the observer. I was always the football guy that gets to come in and kind of be that observer, that fan, that critic, that person that you see on TV just talking sports, talking ball, like barbershop talking, all that. So I miss that, man. I'm looking forward to doing all of that as we move forward here. So all that being said, main website to check out to dive deeper into everything I'm doing, it's makeyourmove.com. That's makeyourmove.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.